Among the many impressive legends connected with God Valley, one in particular has stuck out the most. Rock's, or should we say Davy D. Xebec, and his relation to the infamous pirate Davy Jones. So today, we wanted to discuss the Davy Clan's personal beef with Imu, what their family reveals about both the history and future of the One Piece world, and how all of this was actually hinted at all the way back on Egghead through Vegapunk's broadcast, and a little bit more in the Harley Text scene on Elbaf.
And let's start with Vegapunk. As revealed all the way back in chapter 1114, Joy Boy was considered the world's first pirate, essentially making him the original Pirate King by lack of competition to deal with it. However, it's clear that through the interaction with Xebec in 1163, that Imu is just as haunted by the name Davy Jones as he is by the name Joy Boy. And to that point, he even addressed Rox himself as Davy Jones when they first confronted one another. In the same way that Emmett kind of mistook Luffy for Joy Boy, perhaps it's the same hockey, perhaps they can just sense that will carried within them, but it's one that he didn't forget, and Imu immediately thought it would be Davy Jones again.
Right, that could have survived after all those centuries. So that kind of makes you think that while Joy Boy may have been the first pirate to actually take to the seas, it seems from everything that we know about him that he was more focused fighting for freedom, building allegiances, just kind of exploring the world, similar to Luffy. But Davy Jones was the first pirate likely to truly terrorize the seas, going around pillaging treasure and crew members, and really creating the stereotype of pirates today, being violent criminals like Rox and Blackbeard, who are actually causing mayhem across the globe.
It's two sides of the same coin, the same way Luffy has been his entire time. We know that Rox and Roger were, and now we know Davy Jones and Joy Boy were likely the exact same way. And similar to how Sengoku was calling Roger's generation the era of Rox, it's very possible that Davy Jones was likely even a bigger antagonist during the Void Century, as Imu's kind of direct competition to the world he's trying to build, and standing in the way of, oh, I want to be the king sitting on the throne nobody even knows exists.
Yeah, and I mean, it even in 1163 he says, the world of Mu is not yet complete. That was a part of it, is the Davy Clan's continued existence even after it would appear that he was vanquished. Because you would think once Imu took the throne, in some regard, Davy Jones would also have to be vanquished and thrown aside. And that's why the rest of the clan had to go into hiding and disappear for hundreds of years.
And just to further our point, in chapter 1164, our suspicions are actually kind of strongly supported by Rox's own words that he speaks in opposition to Imu. Because according to Rox, Davy wasn't just merely a legendary pirate. He even claims he was the previous king of the world, so supposedly residing on the same throne that Imu now sits on.
Yeah, and Imu very, very vehemently denies that. Like, never did he have that. You're lying. Like, it's very clear that the thought of Davy strikes the same level of fear into Imu's heart as Joy Boy, and they were very clearly pitted against each other, and even both staked a claim to the world throne.
So it's very possible he was the sea god.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon for gods to dethrone each other in mythology at all.
Absolutely not.
I mean, we know that some of the people that bear the D initial kind of have a crossover into the Davy Clan as well, Rox himself being one of them, Blackbeard as well. However, even to this day, the threat of his descendants is so great that even during that Vegapunk broadcast, some bad stuff got out that they did not want people to know, but when they were directly trying to address those with the D initial, including Davy Clan members, Warcree body slams Emmett to ensure that that broadcast does not get out. Not just to spoil it for us fans, but because they know that if they know what they have going on and what it lives within them, we're in trouble.
Yeah, that's just the Oda special. Even with all that we learned from that broadcast, which covered a lot, there's still things we didn't know. There's still new questions we still need answered. But it's also interesting, a few chapters later, during that speech, near the end, he also echoed Doflamingo's Marineford speech, but added a little twist that really seems to focus in on the Davy Clan specifically, where the part that echoes Doflamingo was, someone once said, the voices of the past will be heard, but history is told by the winners. But then he goes on and says, the voices of the losers at the bottom of the sea are very faint, but never quite go away.
So it's not just that justice will prevail because they are the winners here. Vegapunk does acknowledge that even when defeated, if there are remnants of those former opposition, they still can be heard. And this is also kind of very in line with the legend I believe Robin reveals to us all the way back in Long Ring Longland before the Davy backed fight, telling us the legend of Davy Jones being cursed by a demon to live on the sea's floor. Maybe this wasn't just an actual curse like a witch or anything like that. We've seen them sink the world before. We've seen the ancient kingdom got buried underwater.
He may have been a direct casualty of that.
Yeah.
But as we just said, while Doflamingo thinks whoever wins tells history, that's the end of it, it's not that simple. Those voices live on. And so while they may have lost the battle at that time, the war is still going on. The war has not ended after all these hundreds of years. And as he says this during the broadcast, we even get a close-up directly of Imu with a pretty crazy look in their eyes to really show us that even after all this time, they know they haven't won yet. The world still hasn't been completed as they want it.
And there's even more to delve into when it comes to the Harley Text. And this was something of your brainchild, so I wanted you to give you the chance to present your idea.
Yeah, so I believe that Davy Jones was the Void Century's basically reincarnation of the ancient sea god that we see mentioned in the Harley Text and depicted on the ancient mural in Elbaf. Basically the same as Joy Boy was the reincarnation of the sun god Nika. So we don't have the name yet for that sea god, but it existed, we know that. And you would assume that then Imu was the reincarnation of the Earth God, aka the world, and took power by tempting humanity with the idea of becoming gods themselves. There had to have been the sea god equivalent at that time as well, and it would only make sense that it's the guy who was just tearing up the seas and really setting the precedent of violence on the open waters.
Yeah, and it makes sense as well with Emo being the Earth God because he's referred to himself as the world at this point.
Many people also have.
Yeah, there's a number of times that we've heard people referring to the world that we thought was just kind of a general statement, but seems to very much point their fingers back to Emu. And like you said, he tempted humanity by becoming gods. To some of them, that's just a status symbol,
Yes.
like the celestial dragons. But he also has the ability to bestow power, reincarnation, eternal youth, it seems. He can make people truly like gods, and so he could deliver on that promise.
Yeah, so obviously the five elders, but then even the holy knights, they get those godlike powers. So yeah, it's even more reason to build around him and sell out to this idea. And this also suggests that the promise of the Davy Clan to defeat Emu, thus ending the world, likely stems even further back in history to the time of Nika in the first world that we see on that Harley Text mural.
Yeah, that's exactly why Xebec himself says, I'm here to deliver on Davy Jones' promise. It seems like no matter what it was, Emu attempting to eliminate the Davy Clan and Davy Jones himself has only resulted in a thorn of his side that has not gone away for 900 years since. And perhaps this is even a story that Xebec shared with Whitebeard, as Newgate himself would even go on at Marineford to bring up that phrasing of the world one more time, saying, someone will arise carrying generations upon generations of history on his shoulders, and he'll throw down the gauntlet in front of the entire world.
Again, the world.
Not in front of the world, against the world. And it's also a way of like him rebuking Teach's idea himself that I know you want to avenge your father. I know you think that you're like living the way he wants by becoming the king of the
Right, like
world.
this is your birthright.
Yeah, but you don't understand the general, like the historical trauma that he was carrying on his shoulders as well, and that you don't seem to understand.
And to bring that all into the current time and where we're at now, the beginning of the third world, it says in the Harley Text, the sun brings the end of the world, but also a new dawn. So rather than actually ending the physical world and killing all its inhabitants, like a normal person would interpret this, it actually would mean that he'll just end the reign of this centuries-long regime and begin a new era of humanity and peace.
Now, we've been told this from the very start of the story, because Oda loves to make a big reveal and then show us that we should have known from the very start. I mean, you can look at the first chapter title, Romance Dawn.
Yep, it's all been there since the very beginning. And again, like Blackbeard, he's still a part of it, like he thinks, but he's not the one who will finish it through, because we also see at the very start of the Third World's proverb, within the chaos there is void or emptiness, depending on the interpretation. The meddlesome lingering shadows shall remember the day of promise, which sounds an awful lot like the Davy Clan to me.
Yeah.
The lingering shadows rocks. Davy Jones himself and all the other clan members who have been lost. The void within the chaos right now, especially Blackbeard. And then the day of promise, which Rocks sought to fulfill, again mentioned, seemingly in reference to Imu's defeat.
Plus, if you're the sun god, what creates shadows more than light?
True.
So all of those members that he wished would be gone to history are only being illuminated and brought to the forefront by Luffy's light.
And to go back to Marineford one final time, the still very unknown pirate, Rouge, even said during this whole battle, Blackbeard is the key, or the eye of the storm. So it could even be possible that he is the key to actually defeating Imu, the world.
Yeah, which is a wild thought, because
it just doesn't seem like he would ever do something like that.
Yeah, he would never be subservient, and they're very different people. They're similar, but they're so diametrically different. But Blackbeard may have not been the man that Roger or his father was waiting for, but he is going to be present in the final saga, and he's going to have a part to play. But what do you guys think will become of the Davy Clan during this ultimate climax? What do you think they will reveal about Imu the more we learn about them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed the discussion. Subscribe if you find yourself enjoying this kind of content. And as always,
be crew!